The journey to the source of the signal took weeks. The asterisk Aurora asterisk moved steadily through the vast emptiness of space, its engines humming softly as it carried its crew toward the unknown. Captain Ryan Keller spent most of his time on the bridge, staring out at the endless sea of stars. He often replayed the message in his mind. "Help us, only humans." It was strange, almost haunting. Who, or what, had sent it? And why had they singled out humanity? Dr. Laura Bennett tried to keep herself busy by reviewing data and running simulations, but her thoughts kept drifting back to the mission. She couldn't help but wonder what kind of beings they might encounter. Were they friendly, hostile, or something else entirely? Jake Monroe, the ship's pilot, preferred to focus on flying, losing himself in the rhythm of navigating the vessel. But even he couldn't ignore the growing tension among the crew. Mia Carter, meanwhile, worked tirelessly in the engineering bay, making sure every system on the asterisk Aurora asterisk was ready for whatever lay ahead. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the coordinates led them to their destination. What they found there made everyone freeze. Drifting silently in the shadow of a dying star was an alien spacecraft. Its design was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Jagged edges jutted out from its surface, and glowing blue veins ran across its hull like rivers of light. It looked both beautiful and menacing, as if it belonged to a world far beyond human understanding. Ryan ordered the asterisk Aurora asterisk to approach cautiously. As they drew closer, the ship's sensors picked up faint energy readings. Whatever this vessel was, it wasn't completely dead. "Prepare for boarding," Ryan said, his voice calm but firm. "Mia, check the airlocks. Laura, you're with me. Jake, stay here and keep the asterisk Aurora asterisk ready in case we need to leave quickly." The team suited up and boarded a shuttle, which brought them within reach of the alien craft. When they stepped inside, the atmosphere was eerie. The air felt thick and heavy, almost as though it resisted their movements. Strange symbols covered the walls, pulsating faintly as if alive. Laura reached out to touch one, but Ryan stopped her. "We don't know what these things are," he warned. "Be careful." They moved deeper into the ship, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The interior was a maze of corridors and chambers, each more unsettling than the last. In one large room, they discovered rows of hibernation pods. Most were empty, their glass surfaces cracked or shattered. But one pod still contained something, a humanoid figure encased in a crystalline material. Its features were obscured, but it was clear that this being was not human. Nearby, they found a terminal displaying fragmented logs written in an alien language. Mia knelt beside it, pulling out her tools. "I can try to decode this," she said, her fingers flying over the controls. After several minutes, parts of the message began to make sense. It says, "They came, not like us, destroyers." Her voice trailed off as the screen flickered and went dark. Before anyone could react, the ship came to life around them. Lights pulsed brighter, and a low hum filled the air. Ryan tightened his grip on his weapon. "Something knows we're here," he muttered. Laura glanced nervously at the crystalline figure in the pod. "Do you think it's still alive?" "I don't know," Ryan replied, "but we're about to find out." As the hum grew louder, the crew exchanged uneasy looks. They had come to answer a call for help, but now they weren't sure who, or what, they were dealing with. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the alien ship like a heartbeat. The crew stood frozen, unsure of what to do next. Laura's eyes darted around the room, taking in every detail. The glowing symbols on the walls now pulsed faster, as if responding to their presence. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Ryan stepped forward, his weapon raised. Stay alert, he said, his voice steady but firm. We don't know what's going to happen. Mia crouched by the terminal again, trying to bring it back online. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls, but the screen remained dark. Whatever just activated, it shut this down completely, she muttered. I can't get anything from it now. Jake glanced over his shoulder at the corridor they had come through. Maybe we should head back to the shuttle. This place doesn't feel safe anymore. Before Ryan could respond, a sharp crackling sound filled the air. Everyone turned toward the source, a faint shimmer near the crystalline pod. The figure inside began to move, its body shifting slightly within the glowing material. Laura gasped, stepping closer despite Ryan's warning glance. It's alive, she whispered, her voice trembling with excitement and fear. It must have been in some kind of stasis. The pod emitted a soft glow, and then, with a sudden burst of light, the crystalline shell shattered. Fragments scattered across the floor, revealing the figure inside. It was humanoid, but not human. Its skin was pale and smooth, almost translucent, and its large, almond-shaped eyes blinked slowly as it took in its surroundings. Thin tendrils of energy seemed to flicker along its arms, fading as it steadied itself. For a moment, no one spoke. The alien, whatever it was, looked weak, unsteady on its feet. Laura instinctively reached out to help, but Ryan grabbed her arm. Wait, he said. We don't know what it's capable of. The creature tilted its head, studying them with an intensity that made Laura feel exposed, as though it could see straight into her thoughts. Then, without warning, it spoke, not with words, but directly into their minds. A calm, melodic voice echoed in their heads. You are human, it said simply. You came. Laura's breath caught. It knows who we are. Ryan tightened his grip on his weapon, but kept his tone measured. Who are you? Why did you send the signal? The creature hesitated, as if struggling to find the right way to communicate. I am Kale, it said finally. My people, we sought refuge here after they attacked. We sent the call, hoping someone would hear. Who attacked you? Laura asked, her curiosity overpowering her caution. The Vorthak, Kale replied, its mental voice tinged with fear. They are destroyers. They consume all life, leaving only emptiness behind. Jake frowned. Great. So we're dealing with space monsters now. Kale nodded, or at least it gave a gesture that resembled a nod. They will return soon. I felt their presence when your ship arrived. You must leave while you still can. Ryan exchanged a glance with his team. They had come here to help, but the situation was more dangerous than they had anticipated. Still, something about Kale's plea struck him deeply. Why did you ask for humans specifically? He asked. Kale paused, as if searching for the right words. You're kind, you are different. You carry hope within you. My people believed that if anyone could stop the Vorthak, it would be you. Laura looked at Ryan, her expression hopeful. If they think we can make a difference, maybe we should try. Jake shook his head. Or maybe this is exactly why we shouldn't stick around. We don't even know if we can trust this thing. Ryan didn't answer immediately. He studied Kel carefully, weighing the risks. The alien seemed sincere, but there was no way to be sure. Whatever choice they made, it would define what happened next, for better or worse. Back aboard the Aurora *, the crew gathered in the main meeting room to discuss their next move. The discovery of Kale and its warning about the Vorthak had left them divided. Laura sat at the table, her eyes bright with determination. She believed they had a chance to do something extraordinary, to help an alien species, and possibly save countless lives. Jake, on the other hand, leaned against the wall with his arms crossed, his expression skeptical. He didn't trust Kale or its story. To him, this was a dangerous gamble that could end badly for everyone. Ryan stood at the head of the table, listening as his team debated. Mia sat quietly, her fingers tapping nervously on the surface of her tablet. She had spent the last hour analyzing data from the alien ship, but hadn't found anything conclusive. "The tech on that ship is advanced," she said finally, breaking the silence. "If we can figure out how it works, maybe we can use it against the Vorthak." "That's a big if," Jake countered. "We don't even know what the Vorthak are capable of. For all we know, they're already on their way here." Laura turned to him, her voice firm. "And if they are, running won't solve anything." Kale said its people tried to fight back, but they failed. "If we leave now, we'll be abandoning them, and maybe ourselves, to the same fate." Jake shook his head. "You're talking about risking our lives based on the word of some alien we just met. How do we even know Kale isn't lying? What if this is all a trap?" Ryan held up a hand to stop the argument before it escalated further. "Enough," he said, his tone calm but commanding. "We need to focus. Yes, there are risks, but we also have a responsibility to consider." Kale reached out specifically to humans. That means something, whether it's hope, desperation, or both. Mia nodded slowly. Kale's biology is fascinating. It's not just humanoid, it's adaptive. I've never seen anything like it. If we can learn more, it might give us an edge. Laura jumped in, seizing the opportunity. "Exactly. This could be our chance to prove that humanity isn't just about survival. We're about helping others, even when it's hard. Think about what it would mean if we succeed." Jake sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I get it. I really do. But we're not soldiers. We're explorers. This isn't our fight." Ryan looked at each member of his team, weighing their arguments. He knew Jake had a point. They weren't trained for combat. But he also couldn't ignore the potential consequences of doing nothing. If the Vorthak were as dangerous as Kale claimed, leaving would only delay the inevitable. Sooner or later, humanity would face them too. "Here's the plan," Ryan said after a long pause. "We'll stay for now. Mia, work with Kale to understand its technology. See if there's anything we can use to defend ourselves. Laura, keep studying Kale's physiology. Maybe there's something in its biology that can help us. Jake, prep the asterisk Aurora asterisk for anything. If things go south, we need to be ready to move." Jake hesitated, but eventually nodded. "All right, but if this goes sideways, don't say I didn't warn you." As the meeting ended, Ryan stayed behind, staring at the star map displayed on the wall. His mind raced with questions. Was he making the right decision? Could they really make a difference? Or were they walking into a disaster they couldn't escape? Later that evening, Ryan found Cal in the medical bay, where Laura had set up temporary monitoring equipment. The alien seemed weaker than before, its energy visibly fading. "Why did your people send the signal?" Ryan asked suddenly, surprising both himself and Kale. Kale's large eyes met his, filled with sadness. "Because we had no one else to turn to. The Vorthak destroyed everything we built. They took our home, our families, everything. We hoped someone, somewhere would hear us. Someone who still believes in life." Ryan felt a pang of guilt. He wanted to believe they could help, but the odds were stacked against them. Still, as he looked at Kale, he realized one thing. Giving up wasn't an option. Not yet. The next few days were tense as the crew worked tirelessly to prepare for the looming threat. Mia spent hours in the alien ship, trying to decipher its technology with Kale's help. The alien's knowledge of its own systems was invaluable, but progress was slow. Many of the ship's mechanisms were damaged beyond repair, and others seemed to resist their attempts to understand them. Still, Mia refused to give up. She knew that if they could unlock even a fraction of the alien tech, it might give them an advantage. Laura, meanwhile, focused on studying Cal's biology. She ran tests, took samples, and monitored the aliens' vital signs. What she discovered amazed her. Cal's body wasn't just adaptive, it was regenerative. Tiny fractures in its skin healed almost instantly, and its energy levels fluctuated in response to stress. Laura theorized that Kale species might have evolved to survive in harsh environments, but there was something else. Buried deep within Kale cells was a unique compound that seemed to repel certain types of energy. If they could replicate it, it might serve as a defense against the Vorthak. Jake kept busy maintaining the Aurora asterisk, running diagnostics, and ensuring every system was in top condition. He also worked on modifying the ship's weapons, adding extra power to the lasers, and reinforcing the shields. Though he still had doubts about their mission, he couldn't deny the importance of being prepared. Better safe than sorry, he muttered to himself as he welded a new panel into place. Despite their efforts, tensions among the crew continued to rise. Jake grew increasingly frustrated with Laura's optimism, while Laura found his skepticism infuriating. One evening, their disagreement boiled over during dinner in the mess hall. "We're wasting time," Jake said, slamming his fork down on the table. "Even if we figure out how to use that alien tech, we're still outnumbered and outgunned. You think some fancy science is going to save us?" Laura glared at him. "And what's your plan? Run away and let the Vorthak destroy everything. Is that the kind of person you want to be?" Jake leaned forward, his voice sharp. "I'm not saying we should abandon Cal. I'm saying we need to be smart about this. We're not superheroes, Laura. We're just humans." Ryan stepped in before the argument could escalate further. "That's enough," he said firmly. "We don't have time for this. We all know the risks, but we also know what's at stake. If we don't try, who will?" His words silenced the room, but the tension lingered. Later that night, Ryan found Mia in the engineering bay, staring at a schematic of the alien ship. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes betraying her lack of sleep. "How's it going?" Ryan asked, leaning against the wall. Mia sighed, rubbing her temples. "It's complicated. Some of this tech is incredible, but it's like it doesn't want to work with us. And Kale keeps saying things that don't add up." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then pulled up a log on her tablet. Kale mentioned something about the Vorthak being drawn to energy signals. But when I asked about the distress call, it got quiet, almost like it didn't want to talk about it. Ryan frowned. "You think it's hiding something?" "I don't know," Mia admitted. "Maybe it's protecting us, or itself. Either way, we need to be careful." Ryan nodded, his mind racing. Trust was fragile, especially in situations like this. If Kale was keeping secrets, it could jeopardize everything. But without Kale's help, they wouldn't stand a chance. For now, they had no choice but to keep moving forward. As Ryan left the engineering bay, he couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Every decision felt heavier than the last, and the weight of leadership pressed down on him. He glanced at the stars through the viewport, wondering if they'd made the right choice in staying. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain: humanity's courage, and its flaws, would soon be put to the test. The crew worked around the clock, driven by a mix of determination and fear. The Aurora asterisk buzzed with activity as everyone focused on preparing for the inevitable confrontation with the Vorthak. Mia had made significant progress with the alien technology, combining it with the ship systems to create hybrid weapons. The new modifications were experimental, but they gave the crew a fighting chance. Laura spent her time analyzing Cal's regenerative compound, hoping to synthesize it into a protective barrier that could shield them from the Vorthak's attacks. Despite their efforts, doubts lingered in the air. Jake often muttered under his breath about how reckless this mission was, though he never stopped working. His hands moved quickly as he fine-tuned the ship's engines, ensuring they could escape if needed. Laura noticed his unease, but chose not to push him further. Everyone coped with stress differently, and Jake's way was through action rather than words. One evening, Ryan called another meeting to review their preparations. The mood was somber as the team gathered in the briefing room. "We've done everything we can," Ryan began, looking at each of them. "Mia, how are the weapons?" "They're ready," Maya replied, though her tone lacked confidence. "But I can't guarantee they'll work against something we've never seen before." Ryan nodded. "Laura, what about the compound?" "I've managed to replicate a small batch," she said, holding up a vial filled with a glowing blue liquid. "It's not perfect, but it might give us some protection. I've already started applying it to our suits." Jake crossed his arms. "And what about Kale? Any more secrets we should know about?" Ryan hesitated, glancing at Mia. She had shared her concerns about Kale's evasiveness, but they still didn't have concrete answers. "Kale is staying quiet for now," Ryan said carefully. "But we need to trust that it's on our side, at least for now." Before anyone could respond, the ship's alarms blared, startling them all. Jake bolted to the bridge, with the others close behind. On the main screen, a swarm of ships appeared on the horizon, twisted, jagged vessels that seemed to pulse with dark energy. The Vorthak had arrived. "They found us faster than we expected," Ryan said, his voice steady despite the tension gripping the room. "Mia, activate the shields. Jake, get us into position." Mia rushed to her station, her fingers flying over the controls. Jake gripped the helm, maneuvering the Aurora with precision as the enemy fleet closed in. Laura clutched the edge of a console, her heart pounding. This was it, the moment they had been dreading. The first wave of Vorthak ships fired, sending bolts of black energy streaking toward the Aurora. The shields held, but the impact shook the ship violently. "Return fire," Ryan ordered. The modified weapons roared to life, launching bursts of hybrid energy at the Vorthak fleet. Some of the enemy ships exploded on impact, while others seemed unaffected. It was clear that the battle wouldn't be easy. As the fight raged on, Kale appeared in the doorway of the bridge. Its presence startled everyone, but there was no time for questions. "They will overwhelm you," Kale said, its mental voice tinged with urgency. "You must destroy their core ship. It controls the others." Ryan turned to Jake. "Can you get us close enough?" "I'll try," Jake replied, his jaw tight with concentration. Mia monitored the shields, which were beginning to falter under the relentless assault. "We don't have much time," she warned. Laura stepped forward, clutching the vial of compound. "I'll go with Kale. If we can reach the core ship, maybe I can use this to disable it." "No," Ryan said immediately. "It's too dangerous." "It's the only way," Laura insisted, her voice firm. "If we don't stop them here, they'll keep coming. For humanity. For Kale's people. Please." Ryan hesitated, torn between protecting his crew and achieving their mission. Finally, he nodded. "All right, but be careful." As Laura and Kale prepared to board a shuttle, Jake glanced back at them. For once, he didn't argue. Instead, he gave Laura a small nod. "Good luck," he said simply. With the fate of both species hanging in the balance, Laura and Kale launched toward the Vorthak flagship, leaving the rest of the crew to fight for survival. Each member knew that sacrifices would be necessary, but none of them were ready for what lay ahead. The shuttle carrying Laura and Kale sped toward the Vorthak flagship, its sleek design blending into the chaos of the battle around them. The massive enemy vessel loomed ahead, a twisted mass of organic and mechanical parts that seemed to writhe like a living thing. Laura gripped the edge of her seat, trying to steady her breathing. Her heart raced as she watched explosions light up the void of space behind them. The asterisk Aurora asterisk was still holding its own against the smaller Vorthak ships, but she knew it wouldn't last forever. Kale sat beside her, its energy flickering faintly as if it were struggling to maintain its strength. "The core is deep within the ship," Kale said, its mental voice softer than before. "It will not be easy to reach." Laura nodded, clutching the vial of glowing blue compound tightly in her hand. "We'll make it work," she said, though her voice betrayed a hint of doubt. She had always been driven by curiosity and a desire to help others, but now she felt the weight of what they were about to attempt. If they failed, everyone, human and alien alike, would pay the price. As the shuttle docked with the flagship, both Laura and Kale suited up, checking their equipment one last time. The airlock hissed open, revealing a dark, pulsating corridor. The walls seemed to breathe, organic tendrils shifting slowly as if alive. Laura shuddered but forced herself to step forward. Kale led the way, its body glowing faintly, illuminating the path ahead. The deeper they went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. Strange noises echoed through the corridors, low growls and screeches that sent chills down Laura's spine. "What are those?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of her suit. "Guardians," Kale replied. "They protect the core. Be ready." Before Laura could ask more, a shadow moved at the edge of her vision. A creature emerged from the darkness, a grotesque amalgamation of flesh and metal, its jagged limbs ending in sharp claws. Its hollow eyes locked onto them, and it let out a deafening roar. "Stay close," Kale shouted mentally, raising a shimmering barrier of energy between them and the creature. The Guardian lunged, slamming into the barrier with enough force to make the ground shake. Laura stumbled but quickly regained her footing, pulling out a small device Mia had given her. It emitted a high-pitched frequency designed to disrupt alien systems. When she activated it, the Guardian froze mid-attack, its body convulsing before collapsing into a heap. "That won't stop all of them," Kale warned. "Keep moving." They pressed on, encountering more Guardians along the way. Each fight was harder than the last, draining their strength and resolve. Laura's arms ached from wielding the disruptor, and Kale's glow dimmed with every burst of energy it used to defend them. Still, they pushed forward, driven by the knowledge that failure wasn't an option. Finally, they reached the core chamber. At the center of the room was a massive, pulsating orb surrounded by writhing tendrils of black energy, the source of the Vorthak's power. Laura stared at it, her mind racing. "This is it," she said, stepping closer. "If we destroy this, it'll take out the entire fleet." Kale hesitated, its gaze fixed on the orb. "You must do it. I cannot risk being near it. It feeds on my kind." Laura nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment. She opened the vial and poured the compound onto a detonator device, setting the timer for 5 minutes. As she placed it on the orb, the tendrils lashed out, wrapping around her legs and pulling her toward the core. She screamed, struggling against the grip of the alien material. "Laura!" Kale shouted, reaching out with tendrils of its own energy to pull her free. With a final burst of strength, it yanked her away from the core just as the timer began counting down. "We need to leave." Now Kale urged, dragging Laura toward the exit. Behind them, the orb started to destabilize, sending shockwaves rippling through the ship. As they ran back through the corridors, explosions erupted around them, the flagship beginning to collapse. Laura's lungs burned as she pushed herself to keep moving, each step bringing them closer to survival or doom. They reached the shuttle just as the first wave of destruction hit, shaking the entire vessel. "Go," Kale shouted, helping Laura inside. She strapped herself in and powered up the engines, launching them out of the docking bay just as the flagship imploded in a blinding flash of light. Back on the Aurora Ryan and the others watched in awe as the remaining Vorthak ships disintegrated, their connection to the core severed. For a moment, there was silence. Then cheers erupted from the crew, but Ryan's relief was short-lived. He scanned the area, searching for any sign of Laura's shuttle. And then he saw it, limping toward the Aurora. Despite everything, they had made it back. The shuttle carrying Laura and Kale approached the Aurora, its engine sputtering as it struggled to stay airborne. Smoke trailed behind it, evidence of the damage sustained during their escape from the Vorthak flagship. On the bridge of the Aurora, Ryan watched anxiously as Jake maneuvered the ship closer to intercept. The relief on his face was evident, but it was mixed with concern. He knew they weren't out of danger yet. "Mia, get the docking bay ready," Ryan ordered, his voice firm. "Jake, keep us steady." Mia rushed to her station, her hands flying over the controls as she prepared the airlock for the shuttle's arrival. Jake focused intently on keeping the Aurora stable despite the debris floating around them. The remnants of the Vorthak fleet were scattered across space, chunks of twisted metal drifting aimlessly. It was a grim reminder of what they had just faced. When the shuttle finally docked, the crew hurried to the airlock, their faces tense with anticipation. As the door hissed open, Laura stumbled out, her suit scorched and her expression weary but triumphant. Behind her, Kale followed, its energy visibly weaker than before. Ryan stepped forward, steadying Laura as she swayed slightly. "You did it," he said, his voice filled with both pride and disbelief. "Are you okay?" Laura nodded, though her breathing was labored. "We destroyed the core. The Vorthak, they're gone." Kale lowered itself to the floor, its glow dimming further. "It is done," it whispered mentally, its voice faint. "But at great cost." Ryan helped Laura sit down while Mia examined her injuries. "What happened out there?" he asked, glancing between Laura and Kale. Laura recounted their journey through the Vorthak flagship, the Guardians, the core chamber, and the desperate escape. "Kale saved me," she said, looking at the alien with gratitude. "If it hadn't been there, I wouldn't have made it back." Kale didn't respond immediately. Its form seemed translucent now, as if it were fading. When it finally spoke, its mental voice was barely audible. "My time is ending. My people gave everything to stop the Vorthak. Now I must join them." Laura's eyes widened in alarm. "No, you can't leave. We need you." Kale tilted its head, a gesture that almost resembled a smile. "You do not need me. You are stronger than you know. Together, your kind will find a way to protect life. Not just yours, but all life." Tears welled up in Laura's eyes as she realized there was nothing they could do to save Kale. The alien had given everything to help them succeed, and now it was paying the ultimate price. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder, offering silent support. As the crew gathered around, Kale's body began to dissolve into streams of light, dissipating into the air. Before it vanished completely, its final words echoed in their minds. "Remember, hope lives within you." For a moment, no one spoke. The weight of what had just happened settled over them like a heavy blanket. They had won, but it had come at a cost. Kale's sacrifice reminded them of the fragility of life, and the importance of standing together against threats greater than themselves. Ryan broke the silence first. "Let's get home," he said quietly, his tone resolute. "We've done what we came here to do. Now it's time to honor Cal's memory." Mia nodded, wiping away a tear. "I'll prep the engines." Jake clapped Ryan on the back, his usual skepticism replaced by quiet respect. "Guess we showed those face monsters who's boss." Laura managed a small smile despite her grief. "Yeah, but we couldn't have done it without Cal." As the Aurora turned toward Earth, the crew sat in silence, each lost in their thoughts. The battle may have ended, but its impact would stay with them forever. Humanity had proven it could rise to the occasion, but it had also learned that courage often required sacrifice. And somewhere among the stars, Cal's light continued to shine, a beacon of hope for all who dared to dream of peace. The journey back to Earth was quiet, the kind of silence that comes after a storm has passed. The crew of the Aurora spent much of their time reflecting on what they had been through. Laura sat alone in the observation deck, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. Her mind kept drifting back to Cal, the way it had sacrificed itself to ensure their survival. She felt a deep sense of gratitude, but also an ache of loss. It wasn't just an alien. It had become something more. A friend, a guide, a symbol of hope. Ryan walked in after a while, taking a seat beside her. He didn't say anything at first, simply letting her sit with her thoughts. Eventually, he spoke softly. "You did good out there," he said. "We all did." Laura nodded, though her expression remained somber. "I just wish Cal could have come back with us. It deserved better than disappearing like that." Ryan sighed, leaning back in his chair. It knew what it was doing. Cal gave everything so its people's fight wouldn't be forgotten, and so we'd have a chance to stop the Vorthak. That's not something we can take lightly. "I know," Laura replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it's hard not to feel like we let it down somehow." "You didn't," Ryan said firmly. "Cal trusted us to carry the torch, and we will. That's how we honor its memory." In the engineering bay, Mia worked tirelessly to repair the damage the Aurora had sustained during the battle. Her hands moved quickly over the machinery, but her mind was elsewhere. She thought about the alien technology she had studied, the way it had resisted her attempts to fully understand it. There was still so much they didn't know about Cal's species, the Vorthak, and the universe beyond. But one thing was clear: humanity was only beginning to scratch the surface of what lay out there. Jake, meanwhile, spent most of his time on the bridge, keeping watch as they traveled through space. For once, he wasn't complaining or making sarcastic remarks. Instead, he seemed lost in thought, his gaze fixed on the star map displayed on the main screen. The mission had changed him, even if he wouldn't admit it. He had always believed humans were small and insignificant compared to the vastness of the cosmos. Now he realized that maybe being small didn't mean being powerless. When the Aurora finally entered Earth's orbit days later, the crew gathered on the bridge to look down at their home planet. From this distance, Earth looked peaceful: blue oceans, swirling clouds, and patches of green and brown land. It was a stark contrast to the destruction they had witnessed in deep space. "We made it," Jake said, breaking the silence. His tone was lighter than usual, almost reverent. "Yeah," Ryan replied, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "But this isn't the end. If there are other threats like the Vorthak out there, we need to be ready for them." Laura nodded, determination replacing the sadness in her eyes. "Cal believed in us. We owe it to them, and to ourselves, to keep going. To explore, to learn, and to protect." Mia crossed her arms, a thoughtful look on her face. Maybe this is why we're out here. Not just to survive, but to make a difference. As the Aurora began its descent toward Earth, Ryan turned to his crew. Whatever happens next, we'll face it together. Humanity's story doesn't end here. It's just beginning. The ship touched down at the Central Command Facility, where officials and scientists waited eagerly to hear their report. The debriefing lasted for hours, with the crew recounting every detail of their encounter with Kale and the Vorthak. Though some questioned whether they had done the right thing by engaging the enemy, most agreed that their actions had likely saved countless lives. Later that evening, as the crew parted ways, Laura lingered outside the facility, gazing up at the night sky. A single thought ran through her mind. The universe was vast, full of wonders and dangers alike. But humanity had proven it could rise to meet those challenges. And somewhere among the stars, Kale's light continued to shine, a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope could guide the way forward. Weeks passed after the crew's return to Earth, but the events of their mission lingered in their minds. Ryan submitted his final report to Central Command, detailing everything they had encountered, from the mysterious distress signal to Kale's sacrifice and the destruction of the Vorthak fleet. The report sparked debates among officials about humanity's role in space exploration. Some argued that venturing too far into the unknown was dangerous, while others believed it was humanity's destiny to seek out new horizons. Laura spent her days analyzing the data she had collected during the mission. Her research on Kale's biology yielded groundbreaking insights, particularly about the regenerative compound she had synthesized. Scientists around the world were eager to study her findings, hoping to apply them to medical advancements. But for Laura, the work wasn't just about discovery. It was about honoring Kale's memory. Every time she looked at the glowing blue liquid, she felt a pang of gratitude for the alien who had trusted her with its secrets. Mia returned to her lab, determined to unlock more mysteries of the alien technology they had salvaged. Though much of it remained incomprehensible, she made steady progress. Her modifications to the Aurora's systems became a blueprint for future ships, designed not only for exploration, but also for defense. She often thought about Kale's words, that humans carried hope within them, and found herself inspired to push the boundaries of what was possible. Jake, on the other hand, struggled to settle back into life on Earth. He missed the thrill of flying through space, the adrenaline rush of navigating danger. But he also couldn't deny the sense of purpose he had found during the mission. For the first time, he understood that being human wasn't just about survival. It was about connection, courage, and standing up for what mattered. When Ryan offered him a spot on the next deep space mission, Jake didn't hesitate to accept. As the weeks turned into months, the crew stayed in touch, meeting occasionally to reflect on their shared experience. They knew they had been part of something extraordinary, something that would shape humanity's future. The memory of Kale loomed large in their conversations, a reminder of the bond they had formed with an alien species and the sacrifices made to protect life. One evening, Ryan stood on the balcony of his apartment, staring at the stars. Humanity had always looked to the heavens with wonder, but now there was a new sense of responsibility. The universe was vast and unpredictable, filled with both beauty and danger. Yet despite the risks, Ryan felt hopeful. If humanity could face the Vorthak and emerge victorious, then perhaps they could handle whatever challenges lay ahead. Laura joined him later, holding a cup of coffee. "Do you think we'll ever see anything like Kale again?" she asked, her voice soft. Ryan smiled faintly. "Maybe. Or maybe we'll find something completely different. Either way, we'll be ready." Laura nodded, sipping her drink. "It's strange, isn't it? We went out there looking for answers, and instead, we found ourselves." That's the thing about exploring, Ryan replied. You don't always know what you're searching for until you find it. The two stood in silence for a while, watching as a shooting star streaked across the sky. It was a fleeting moment, gone almost as quickly as it appeared, but it left a lasting impression. The universe was full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and humanity was ready to take the next step. In the years that followed, the story of the Aurora and its crew became legend. Their bravery inspired a new generation of explorers, scientists, and dreamers. And though Kale was gone, its legacy endured, a testament to the power of unity, compassion, and hope. Somewhere among the stars, its light continued to shine, guiding humanity toward a brighter future.